voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now.
Hi, this is American Sunrise Early Editions, the headlines that matter. First, I'm Brian Glenn. A lot going on this morning, but let's get to what's driving the day so far. This morning, after days of chaos in Minneapolis, the response shifts. President Trump and Governor Tim Walz speak. Border czar Tom Homan moves to top Border Patrol official Gregory Bonino moves out. What signals and why does this matter coming up? And chaos unfolds on the ground. The narrative war ignites on-screen dueling headlines, competing realities. This is the fight to define the moment, and it's happening in real time. We'll break down how the battle shapes what you need to see. Coming up next.
Service stretched nationwide, just a big mess. Meteorologist Tracy Anthony is here with us, joining us to give us. Meteorologist Tracy Anthony is here with us, joining us to give us kind of a look of what we can expect the rest of today and some of the cleanup, I guess.
Guys, Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
You people and others like you built this country.
Join us as we break down the stories that matter.
FAFO. If you don't know, now you know.
American Sunrise Early Edition on Real America's Voice starts now.
All right, good morning, everybody. Brian Glenn, American Sunrise Early Edition, as we continue to watch all the developments in Minneapolis. And as we said earlier in the open, we've got Tom Homan going down to Minneapolis, sent by President Trump. Homan tends to have a good rapport, I think, with a lot of the border agents, a lot of people working in ICE, as he's been working in that department for quite some time, decades, if you will, worked for several presidents. So I feel like Tom Homan is the right man for this particular moment. As we all watch these videos, I mean, we started with Renee Good, and we had the car, that incident. We kind of broke down, what happened there. And then, of course, with the shooting that took place a few days ago, and that seems to be a little bit more criticized as far as the actions on the ICE agent, and you can break it down 6 ways to Sunday on that, and we will do that. And of course, you got a lot of stuff happening on Capitol Hill as well as we look at the filibuster. Now, this is something, and we'll break it down here a little bit later, but this is something that President Trump has urged the filibuster to get rid of it and to play what I call on the offense of politics, because it seems like the resistance to not get rid of the filibuster tends to agree with being a very defensive posture, where if we get rid of it, then the Democrats will do this. And I look at it as an offensive perspective. If we get rid of it, we can do all of this and make sure that all of the policies and all of the America First MAGA agenda gets put in place. And if it helps the American people, especially with the SAVE Act, we won't lose another election again because people will see the benefits of the policies. But that is a self-imposed, mind you, the filibuster is self-imposed. The Senate put that on themselves. That was not voted in by anybody. It wasn't an election. It wasn't written in any kind of constitution. That was imposed on themselves. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But before we go any further, let's give a moment of perspective, God's word for guidance in what we call uncertain times. This is Psalm 119, 105. It says, your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. May guide us today. And, as we think about who is ultimately in charge, I said this just the other day about God is in control. We can develop policy. We can argue about tariffs and tax and border and all of this stuff. But ultimately, God is in control of the climate as well. So I think it's a little narcissistic for man to think that we can ultimately guide this universe. We simply cannot do it. Okay, let's go ahead and turn to add to that perspective. We turn to a major development this morning. After days of chaos in Minneapolis, President Trump and Governor Tim Walz, they spoke on the phone as border czar Tom Homan moves in. Joining us now is conservative radio talk show host Dan O'Donnell. Dan, now you're watching this up close from Wisconsin. You're just a stone's throw away from all of this. What's really changing on the ground in Minneapolis right now?
Well, to be perfectly frank, I think there is no coincidence here that after a Signal chat involving potentially a number of top-level Democrats, both politically and in the Walz administration, allegedly the Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, after that was exposed, remember, it was Walz who finally picked up the phone and called the White House and wanted to talk to President Trump, and then also Minneapolis's Mayor Jacob Frey. My guess is that they want to head this off at the pass, that they know that this coordinated resistance is going to be shut down, that the exposure of this Signal chat, the training manual that a citizen journalist by the name of Cam Higbee unveiled over the weekend, shows that this is not just a spontaneous uprising of people, that this is actually coordinated at the highest level. And this is a very serious federal crime. It is a federal crime punishable by multiple years in prison to conspire to impede or injure or assault officers. So while the rest of the world is sort of looking at the shooting of Alex Pretty as the tipping point here, I actually think that Walz and Frey were perfectly content to keep this going and have more violent clashes to ultimately get what they want, but that it was the coordinated effort of the resistance being exposed that actually forced their hand.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do think that is what forced their hand. And I think it's amazing, Dan, that all of this that we're realizing everything that's unfolding here, and not just this, but the Somalian fraud came from independent journalists. It didn't come from the local news outlet there in Minneapolis. God bless them. I don't know who they are, but they're sure as hell not getting any kind of aggressive journalism, digging deep on some of this stuff.
No, they're not. And what a condemnation of mainstream traditional journalism that is, that you've got upwards of $10 billion of fraud being perpetrated by Minneapolis's Somali community. And you're telling me that not one local newspaper, not one local television station could devote a single report to this. Now, obviously, the Minneapolis Star-Tribune will say, oh, yes, well, we covered this a year ago. Okay, one story? You have one guy going in with a local on the ground by the name of David, who's rather obviously been cataloging this for decades, and he's able to do the job that the entire press apparatus in the state could not. It's a young guy with an iPhone. Then you've got Cam Higbee, another young guy who has the wherewithal to say, hey, wait a second, maybe if I just talk to some of these protest leaders, I can get in good and find out what's actually going on, whether this is actually a coordinated effort or whether it's actually people just kind of, rising up against the quote unquote tyrannical government. These are just two guys. They don't have cameramen. They don't have editors. They don't have, a corporate budget or anything like that. How are they able to infiltrate? How are they able to figure out things that the mainstream press isn't? The only explanation is that the mainstream press knows what's going on, but doesn't want to investigate because they're scared of the conclusions and what that will do for the left-wing narrative.
Or they're afraid what the pushback might be on social media, because as someone who worked in Dallas at a very liberal news outlet, they did not want to expose anything or talk or even give praise to anyone that might be conservative, because then they would get attacked on social media. They're cowards. Real quick, let's shift. How does this affect the midterms? From a common person vantage point, they're watching all of this unfold. I would think the majority of Americans are like, hey, these Democrats are absolutely insane. They're fighting ICE agents that are trying to get rid of predators off the street. How do you think this affects the midterms? And do we pick up perhaps a few seats or at least a little bit of power there in Minnesota?
It's entirely possible. Polls consistently show, even after the death of Renee Good, obviously the shooting of Alex Preddy is too fresh to be polled, but even after the death of Renee Good, 2/3 of Americans support what President Trump is doing on immigration. It's by far his strongest issue. If anything, I hope that illegal immigration and the push to deport criminal illegals is the big issue in the midterms, even as the economy is recovering and we're projecting something like 5% GDP growth in the first quarter of 2026. That also seems to be a strong issue for President Trump. I actually believe that this is going to have a positive impact. But then again, I mean, we're 11 months out from the midterms right now. A lot can change between now and then, but I think ultimately this is probably, at least early on in this cycle, a net positive for Republicans, because it does expose just how nuts Democrats are.
Dan, you're in talk radio. When you open up the phone lines, what are your listeners telling you?
Well, the exact same thing, that we need mass deportations because over the past 4 years, there were 5 to 11 million people let in this country. And yes, I know that's a wide range of people who are potentially, and we have no idea. And that's sort of the issue. We have no idea how many people the Biden administration let into this country. We know there were thousands and thousands and thousands of murderers, of rapists, of gang bangers, of child sex predators, of human traffickers. These are the worst of the worst people. Okay, the left has this fantasy. They have this idea, and you heard Tim Walz a couple of days ago say, well, someone is going to write the Anne Frank story about Minneapolis. Give me a break. They're not going after little kids. They're going after the worst of the worst of the worst criminals. The people who are, coming to this country seeking a better life and who are leaving, they're leaving voluntarily because the Trump administration did something absolutely genius. They reconfigured the CBP-1 app that the Biden administration was using to facilitate the shuttling around the country of illegals who had recently arrived, to actually give them, I believe the reward is now up to $2,600 plus travel expenses to go back to their countries of origin. That is how innocent people are going back, with the promise that, hey, you can come back and you can be first on the list for temporary or permanent legal residence, green cards, that sort of thing. ICE deportations are targeting known criminals. How do you think it is that the White House press secretary, the president of the United States, are able to hold up their mugshots? Right? They know who they are. We know who these people are. They're not just picking random people off the streets. They're going after the horrible human beings that the Biden administration let in.
All right, Dan, we got to bounce. Dan, we appreciate your time this morning. Let's just keep an eye on everything, and hopefully Tom Holman can help put an end to all of this. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. We'll keep an eye on that. All right. Shifting gears here quickly, organic skincare brand called Terrance has now turning heads recently in Elle and Cosmopolitan Magazine, LA Weekly. To date, they have helped over 60,000 women fall in love with their skin. Nice. Their complexion all again. Terrance delivers clear organic skincare without harsh preservatives. Their Cellular Restores Serum features a gentle alternative retinol called Barskel. Hope I got that right. Probably did. In small focus groups, 92.9% of women, that's the stat you need, saw fewer wrinkles. That's all you need to know. In just 3 weeks, apply the Cellular Restore Serum. Their Cellular Hydration Serum contains tremella mushroom, which hydrates the deepest layers of the skin better than hyaluronic acid. Then there's a Lift Glow Organic Eye Cream, which I think I need right now. If you want to lighten the appearance of dark under eye circles and restore a radiant complexion, then you'll love the Lift and Glow. And finally, they have Even a Glow Serum. Yes, Even Glow features I can't even say that. I don't even know what this stuff is, which delivers 100 times more concentrated than vitamin C and oranges. That's all you need to know. This stuff works. Even Glow works wonders, reducing dark spot appearance in right under a limited time. You can save 35% on all products. Simply go to Terrance.com and enter the promo code at checkout. That's Terrance.com, coupon code EARLY to save 35. All the information is on your screen. How about that? I'm going to stumble through this read because you know what, ladies, you need that. I probably need that as well. But anyway, good time on all these products. All right, coming up, the NRA and pro-gun groups now calling for full investigation into the deadly shooting of Alex Jeffrey Pretty. Why this call is coming from the NRA, I got my thoughts on that as well. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted,
Seditious conspiracy.
but behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now.
All right, live look, Washington, D.C. Looks like the snow has stopped, which is nice here. It's nice to see that. Welcome back to American Sunrise. I am Brian Glenn. In the break, I was just ordering my Terrance. Make sure you go to that website and get your skincare products. All right. A new and unexpected turn this morning in Minneapolis shooting. Now, the pro-gun groups like the NRA and Gun Owners of America are now calling for a full, transparent investigation into the shooting death of Alex Pretty. Let's bring in Dan Was, a spokesman for the Gun Owners of America now, and the author of the Good Gun, Bad Guy series. Dan, from a Second Amendment firearms law enforcement perspective, what are you seeing here unfold?
Well, I actually see a lot of mass psychosis unfolding here on the streets of Minnesota. As far as the investigation, I think we definitely want to see what really happened. We want the details, and we want to know what the what happened with this particular incident. I don't think there's any question there, and I don't think there's any question where of Second Amendment advocates upholding Preddy's right to conceal carry in public. I think we all support that. What we don't support is going to the most volatile place in the country looking for trouble. So I think we have to, many things can be true here at once. We can have a legal concealed carrier, and we can support that, and we can also have that same person looking for chaos and perpetuating, violent behavior against law enforcement. So two things can be true.
I agree, and I got criticized online because I said he had every right to have a concealed carry. It's his Second Amendment right. Now, he has a PhD in stupidity for bringing that firearm to a very hyper insensitive, a chaotic situation. I don't think that was the place to bring it, but I do defend his right to carry firearms, and why I don't understand why lots of people within the MAGA conservative umbrella just cannot stand to see anybody say, well, look, he has a Second Amendment right to carry it.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts to this situation. We're going to find out as it unfolds, but there's a difference between your typical gun owners who conceal carry, do everything that we can to avoid conflict, avoid situations and carry responsibly, because we understand the responsibility of carrying concealed. However, there's a different mentality on the political left, especially with the radical left. They're looking for trouble. They seem to be looking for trouble. Why in the world would you go to this place and support these politicians who really don't care about you, and they're using you to fight their battles in the streets? And like I said earlier, this seems like a mass psychosis, a massive hypnosis of sorts that I think psychologists are going to be studying in the future. How do you get this many grown adults to put their lives at risk and fight for people who really don't care about them? It's an amazing thing. As far as the concealed carry portion, I fully support that. And that's what the Second Amendment is all about. I'm a strong advocate for the Second Amendment. Yes, he had the right to carry, even in a protest. What he didn't have the right to do is, interfere with law enforcement and create more chaos.
Yeah, and that could be debated as well. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. I want to have you back and talk about this as this unfolds.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. All right, a new anti-ICE law is set to take effect in Maine, and why it's raising red flags. Plus, a betting market spike on a possible government shutdown after Minneapolis shooting. Those stories up next right here on American Sunrise, Early Edition.
Exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. they found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit realamericasvoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now.
All right, welcome back, America's Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. That's a look at Philadelphia. Nice area. Looks cold. It is. All right, before we get started, a quick word from one of our sponsors. I love these guys, Artillery Tea Company, the veteran-owned patriotic tea brand delivering premium whole leaf tea and biodegradable sachets that brew twice as strong. Patriots, if you love great tea on your terms, check out Patriot Brew Club for automatic shipments that you control. You can cancel, you can swap flavors anytime, no commitments. You'll even get free shipping on every order. There are tiered discounts as well, that up to 20%, and free milestone rewards along the way. Brew strong, stay patriotic. Head to artillerytco.com right now. Click join the Patriots Brew Club to get started. Gotta love it. All right. Turning back to our headlines, let's turn over to our RAV Denver newsroom where Terrance Bates is on standby. Terrance, once again, we have a laundry list of things to talk about. What an active news cycle.
Oh, absolutely. So look, Brian, the stories you're going to hear everybody talking about today is President Trump heading to Iowa to rally voters there. You'll also hear about Tom Homan heading over to Minneapolis to meet with the mayor there. But another flashpoint is also emerging, and this one is in Maine. Check out this Fox News headline, which reads, anti-ICE law set to take effect in Maine as the governor faces increased criticism for allowing it amid Senate run. So at issue here, folks, is a Maine law that restricts state law enforcement from cooperating with ICE and other federal immigration authorities. Maine's Democratic governor and Democrat Senate candidate Janet Mills declined to veto the measure, but she also didn't sign it. The move is leading to criticism over her progressive policies. State police also already under orders to enforce the law's provisions, even though it's technically not in effect at the moment. In a statement aimed at President Trump over the weekend, Mills writing, as governor, I am requesting that the President of the United States meet with me so that I can demand in person that his administration withdraw these untrained and reckless ICE agents in Maine and across the country. Let's bring Brian in to talk a bit more about this headline. So look, Brian, these Democrat governors are getting bolder and bolder by the day, and it starts in Maine, but when another governor sees this sort of action, he or she probably will say, oh, you know what, I can push the president too.
Yeah, they all kind of dogpile on this topic. And what's interesting is Maine does have a very high concentration of Somalia immigrants. And I learned this a couple months ago, and it was very shocking. So perhaps ICE and, agencies know that there is some, illegal stuff going on perhaps in Maine as well. And they're just trying to get to the bottom of it. So why is the governor being so defensive? I guess we'll find out why. Yeah.
And Brian, I'm sorry, but the bigger picture to me is, why would you, as the head of a state, push back against law enforcement? Even if you don't agree with how ICE is necessarily handling things within your state, you're also creating an environment for not only people to push back against law enforcement, but you're telling the citizens of your state, oh, it's okay not to cooperate with state and federal law enforcement.
Yeah, so we must go ahead and send our camera crew to Maine, because it's on a matter of time before we start to see chaos break out if we're going to use that formula. And I think that's a great point. They're empowering people to resist law enforcement that's trying to come to their communities. Now, mind you, Terrance, they're just trying to get people off the streets that are criminals. And I think it's a messaging issue. And we said it before. You and I have talked about this. They need to message on exactly why they're in these communities, who they're looking for. If people want to know that there's child predators and murderers living amongst them, they would want them out, I would think.
Yeah. Well, right now, Minneapolis is ground zero for the face-off between the feds and local authorities. Aftershocks from Minneapolis now reaching Washington, though, and the stakes, well, they just went up. Check out this Newsweek report, which reads, betting odds spike on government shutdown after Minneapolis shooting. The markets are reacting really fast. In fact, the shutdown odds near 75% at this point. 75% odds being given for a shutdown. The Department of Homeland Security funding is now in jeopardy, and Democrats, of course, are split. ICE funding specifically is the flashpoint. If they defund DHS or limit funding on DHS, then, of course, they also, by extension, would limit funding for ICE, which is at the center of what Democrats are pushing. But, Brian, there are real-world consequences here, and I just find it odd that someone would bet on that. I almost find it insensitive and inhumane that someone would bet on the odds of a government shutdown with so much that hangs in the balance. By the way, January 30th, Friday, is the deadline for all of this to be worked out. If it's not, then we're kind of facing another government shutdown.
Yeah, which I think we are going to have another government shutdown. It is
kind
of sad. I do. I think it's kind of sad in our society as well that we have betting markets that are kind of swinging that way. But that's the reality. Look, we have put so much garbage into these appropriation bills. It's amazing how we'll put stuff that has nothing to do with DHS, and we'll throw it in there, and then all of a sudden you take a Republican that says, "Wait a minute, I don't want to fund refugee." Relocation programs. I don't want to fund that. I want to fund our law enforcement, but I don't want to fund that. Then that holds them up on voting for it. But we'll find out. I mean, like you said, the clock is ticking on this. We've known this, since like November last year, I believe, when we kicked the can a little further.
Hey, Brian, so I'm curious then, if in fact there is a government shutdown, again, following the 43-day government shutdown we're just coming out of, who has the moral high ground in Congress, or does anyone have the moral high ground?
I think the American people have looked at Congress and government as a whole as a complete failure, to be honest with you. They have. Okay. I think the fact that we keep passing the Nancy Pelosi Biden budget, we just did a continuance resolution. I just think they've lost faith, and that, of course, is a much bigger conversation. But I think if it shuts down, I think it's bad for both parties, obviously. Okay. But I think it is on the hands of Democrats this time.
Again. Okay. Hey, Brian, before I let you go, this story is really smack dab in your wheelhouse. The aftershocks from Minneapolis are really reaching Washington, and the stakes just went up, as I said. Okay, so that was the same one. That was the betting odds story. I apologize. I knew that was in your wheelhouse, so I definitely wanted to talk to you about that particular story. I still feel it's unfortunate, though, that someone would bet on a tragedy like a government shutdown, because the reality is there are government workers who are going to suffer. Whether you think the government is too big or not, there are workers who still have bills to pay, and if it shuts down, they may not be able to pay those bills, and those are American workers in many cases, which I think is just sad. But that's my 2 cents. I know nobody asked for it, but I gave it to you anyway.
I asked for it. Our viewers asked for it. That's why they love you, Terrance. No, you're absolutely right, and that does have an effect on the real estate market across the country, particularly in the Washington area, the DMV rather. That is a big topic. As people move out, the real estate tends to, you've got a lot of availability, and there's less people moving in. So we appreciate that. Terrance, I thank you for getting up early for us once again, and for all of us, your fans, they can see you back in about 30 minutes.
There you go. We'll be here. Always good to see you, Brian.
Yes, sir. All right, up next, Democrats dig in behind this filibuster. ICE funding on the line, and the SAVE Act is stuck in limbo as we listen to the Somali Wasp as we go to break on this beautiful morning. Be right back.
New millionaires, all the kids are leering in fake daycares.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap. Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
All right, welcome back, American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful morning. Now, Washington brinkmanship this morning. Democrats threatening to use the filibuster to block the DHS and ICE funding, putting the government shutdown back on the table. At the center of all of it is the SAVE Act, the election integrity, and whether the Senate will finally be forced to act. Now, let me explain to you how big this is. Let's go back to what President Trump has said. He has pushed to get rid of the filibuster, and he has said that since he got into office. And he has requested soon to move forward and get rid of the filibuster, which, by the way, the filibuster is self-imposed on them. No one, there's no constitution, there's no amendment, there's no law that put that in place. That is a self-imposed limit on them, the filibuster. So, which, by the way, has Dutch roots, and it means pirate. And one of the words is pirate. So it's almost like you're taking over something or you're preventing something, and that's kind of what that is. So let's be clear what the Democrats are intending to do with all of this is they're hell-bent on stopping ICE. They don't want the funding for it, and they're willing to shut down the government for it because they think that overall that most Americans are in favor of this and that most Americans are viewing ICE as the enemy. But in fact, the reality is that Americans see ICE agents as perhaps kind of chaotic as some of the images we've seen and the unfortunate incidents of killing somebody. They are cleaning up our streets. So what are the Democrats actually doing here? Well, they're using the filibuster as a blocking shield to block ICE funding, to block the SAVE Act, while blaming law enforcement and dodging election integrity, which has been very, very top of mind. And that is something that, if you want to talk about what the SAVE Act does, the SAVE Act basically makes it a requirement to prove that you're an American citizen, to show ID that you're a citizen in order to vote. Now, you would think that would clean up the voting rolls and get a lot of the fraudulent votes off the books. Now, there is a bill right now that's in Congress. It's Make American Elections Safe Again, and that would require a whole new census. They would go out and do a whole new census and count only American citizens, and based upon that, there would probably be a shift in congressional seats in certain states if we just count the citizens, because right now it counts everybody, and that's why you have states that predominantly have huge populations, but a lot of them may be illegals. Now, President Trump's position on this, President Trump has been consistent: secure the border, fund ICE, and require proof of citizenship to vote. That's law and order. That's not radicalism at all. That is what the people wanted. That's what the people voted President Trump into office. And of course, just as recently, he has even talked about accountability for the 2020 stolen election and said that, hey, there's going to be, and maybe some breaking news here is what he said in Davos, that there's going to be some accountability in terms of the 2020 election. So all of this election integrity talk, all of this narrative, the SAVE Act, this is to secure our elections so that when we're sitting, and it's probably short term, 2026 is not ideal for that. I don't think that will necessarily be impacted. But the next presidential election, it would. So that's why this is so important that we get pass the SAVE Act and we secure our elections. It's one of the number one things that we can do. We found out exactly what happens when we don't secure our elections, and President Biden ruins our country. So why does the SAVE Act matter right now? Because if you can't protect who's allowed to vote, then you can't protect the republic. The SAVE Act is basic common sense election security. You know, when I vote in the state of Texas, I have to show my ID. I have to show that I'm a U.S. citizen and I reside in Texas, and even to a particular point can vote in the right area. So it's common sense. And I think for anybody to argue that providing a photo ID or proof of citizenship to vote is, try getting on a plane. Try buying anything that you have to have a photo ID for. It's ridiculous. That narrative no longer works in this culture. So what happens if Democrats keep blocking it? Well, you get more chaos at the border, in the streets, in Washington, and Americans lose confidence in their government and their vote. Think about this for a second. If we see no action in terms of law and order, in terms of election integrity, let's just say in 2026, they discover that, thousands of votes end up missing, or we had, the same thing as last time, votes didn't come in on time. There were more votes than people registered in the district. People will lose faith in all of the voting process and they won't vote. And when they don't vote, they stay home. When they stay home, the left will win. If we don't vote, we have to give them a reason to vote. I went on a rant yesterday talking about, candidates that say they're America first, candidates that say they're MAGA, they stand for this. Okay, let's see how they voted. Let's see how they voted. And then for candidates that are new and you perhaps have not served in Congress or the Senate, let's go look about what their social media look like. Were they a Trump supporter back in 2015? The bottom line, Democrats are playing politics and Trump is pushing action. And the filibuster is the last thing standing between the SAVE Act and the Senate floor, period. Now, can you imagine how many things that we could get accomplished right now if we got rid of the filibuster? We could push all of these America First agendas through. And mind you, if the argument is, well, Brian, if we do this, then the Democrats might do this. Well, guess what? They tried. If it wasn't for Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin blocking it, it would have already taken place when they had control. So my argument is this: get rid of the filibuster and let's get this America First agenda, all this legislation pushed through and passed. If we pass the SAVE Act, we save our elections. If we save our elections, we save America. Because if we fundamentally think that our policies are the best policies for the American people, then they should be put into law. And if they're put into law and people benefit from it, then they're going to keep, you would think, voting for Republicans. I think this defensive posture is cowardly. And President Trump has sat in that Oval Office. I believe I've asked him the question about the filibuster, and he called on Thune to get rid of it. But they won't. They'll keep doing business as business usually does. The political industrial complex, which you got to understand, is both parties. They work together in unison. And I know that 10 years ago, that sounded completely conspiracy theory, like I'm some kind of tinfoil hat wearer. But that's how it works. The two parties work together. They message together, and they get us, Republicans, Democrats, the people of America, to fight each other, to disagree on elements. They want chaos. They want division. That's what fuels their fundraising. Because if there's no division, they can't go back to their districts and go, I'm trying to fight. I need your help. I need your donations. Help me fight and win. They don't have any intention of winning. The great Rush Limbaugh, one of the things that really stuck with me that he said on one of his shows is that Republicans truly did not want to win. Because if you win, then you're held accountable by the American people. So they can simply lose, go back to their constituents, fundraise, say, I'm trying to beat these leftists. They keep giving you donations. They keep voting for you on the hope that one day you might stand up and fight and vote the right way. But they don't. So it's better sometimes not to be in charge, and you can still keep your office and your power. But it's now time for Republicans to absolutely shift this power and have real power, which means having control of the Senate. And I think this is something that is very important. I know Scott Presser, God bless him, he's been out on the front talking about this for quite some time. And I just think it's time for Republicans to basically stand up, do what the American people want, and get rid of the filibuster, and let's start making true legislation and take advantage of the fact that we have power and control right now. All right, so keep an eye on that. All right, let's turn our attention real quickly. A new year means new financial goals, like making sure your savings and secure are diversified. Will this be the year you finally listen to me and others on this network talking about our friends from the Birch Gold Group? Honestly, they're great people, and I appreciate their educational approach and their understanding of macroeconomics. Therefore, forces pushing the dollar lower, gold is higher, which is why they believe every American should own physical gold. So now until July 30th, well, you don't have a whole lot of time on this. If you're a first-time gold buyer, Birch Gold is offering a rebate up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. So to claim eligibility and start the process, just text America to 989898. The Birch Gold Group can help you roll an existing IRA into a 401 gold IRA in gold, and you're still eligible for the rebate up to $10,000. Make right now your first time to buy gold and take advantage of this rebate up to $10,000 when you buy by January 30th. Text America to 989898 to claim your eligibility today. Again, text America to 989898. Now, when you think about the filibuster, you think about when your representative goes to Congress, we said this yesterday, I want you to go to Liberty Scorecard. Type in your representative, your senator, or maybe it's someone you're just curious about that's running for re-election. Go to Liberty Scorecard, enter their name. You'll find out exactly what their voting record is and what they stand for, and you will be shocked. A lot of times these people, they show up to the Trump rallies and they get Trump's endorsement, they get Trump's attention, and they wave and all the MAGA hats and all that stuff. They go back to Congress, they got a D rating, they got a C rating, they got an F rating in certain cases. So you want to make sure you put the right people in place. So it is important. That's the only way we change this country. All right, final stretch here on America's Sunrise Early Edition. After this, stick around.
This This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
All right, welcome back, American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. Is everybody warmed up yet? I know the nation is basically crawling out of a frozen tundra. Only our friends down in South Florida and all the ones that are behind this camera right now are the pretty much the only people that in Southern California that actually have some warm temperatures. So hopefully your family is not affected and everyone is safe and warm. All right, joining us now, who I guarantee you he is safe and warm, the one and only David Brody joining us here on Early Edition. Do you know anybody that was affected by all of the frigid temperatures and all the travel delays?
Well, not in the tough, hard ways in terms of a lot of people losing power and obviously a lot of the injuries and people stranded on the roads. But I can tell you this, that in my driveway and other driveways around my neighborhood, I mean, it's ice. It's total ice. And so it's hard to get out. I mean, it's one thing to get the snow out and then you try to get the ice out. Good luck on that. I mean, I'm sorry, but I've been to the gym maybe a few times in my life. But I'm going to need a little bit more time in the gym if I'm going to get that ice going. Yeah, it's definitely treacherous. Okay, let's talk about the shooting, if you will. I had a 2A expert on the show earlier today talking about Freddie had the right to conceal a weapon and had a permit to do it. Now he has a PhD in stupidity of bringing it to a protest in what would be considered a potential chaotic situation. But what's your thought on Pretty having the gun on him? Do you agree? What's your thoughts on that? Well, having the gun on him just by itself is fine. Having the gun on him and trying to break up something that's going on with ICE is going to put your life in danger. And in this case, it took his life. So I think that's pretty clear. I will say this, that what's interesting here with Tom Homan now going into Minneapolis and Greg Bovino being, let's be honest, Brian, if we could just talk, the cameras aren't rolling, right? I mean, just between ourselves, he was jettisoned out of there pronto to California. He's done because this is a shift in strategy. And so I'm bringing it back to what you said about the protester there, the Alex Preddy situation, because there's going to be conversations right now between Tom Homan and the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, and Walz, of course, as well, to say, okay, what's the so-called compromise here? I mean, what the White House has to do immigration enforcement in the interior. That's a non-negotiable. The question is, how is this going to go down? And I think part of it could be possibly a solution here is there's got to be some protest zones, if you will. In other words, basically Holman's got to go to Fry and Walls and say, keep your people at bay. I mean, this cannot be going on. Now, having said that, I think what's going to end up happening is I think we're going to see a lot less at-large raids, if you will. I don't think we're going to see that as much. And I think that's where the sweet spot is here, because there is definitely going to be a shift in strategy. There's no doubt about it. You don't bring Tom Homan into Minneapolis and jettison Bovino if you're not trying to make a statement. And we haven't even talked about Kristi Noem, but that's what's going on here, Brian.
And what's interesting is, how did Barack Obama do more deportations and do it so much under the radar? How did that not just blow up?
Well, when he was president, let's remember, Minnesota, the state of Minnesota was not a sanctuary state at that time. However, Minneapolis was a sanctuary city, and ICE did cooperate with him on certain levels, if you will. For example, Minnesota penitentiaries, trying to give them access to those type of folks. So Minneapolis helped a little bit during the Obama administration, but obviously with the Trump administration, they haven't moved 1 inch to help Trump.
Yeah, not at all. All right, David Brody, more David Brody in about 8 minutes or so on the other side. Have a great show. Appreciate it. And we will see you guys tomorrow right here on American Sunrise Early Edition. Go out and have a great day. Goodbye. God bless. Until next time, we'll see you.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday. President Trump out with this Truth Social post following the killing of another American at the hands of an ICE agent. The president writing, "This is why I am hereby calling on Governor Walz, Mayor Fry, and every Democrat governor and mayor in the United States of America to formally cooperate with the Trump administration to enforce our nation's laws rather than resist and stoke the flames of division, chaos, and violence."
Look at this protester who was killed. Okay, what was he doing? He was there to film what ICE was doing, which is exactly what Jacob Fry and Walz told this guy to do. They said, go in there and tape this type of stuff, videotape this stuff. Well, that's what he was doing. The problem with that is that once you do that, you start and you get close to the action, which is what he was doing, then the adrenaline starts taking over. And then you get involved in the melee, and now he's dead.
Every single one of these people right now protesting in the street because they want to be able to defund ICE or resist ICE. Where were these people protesting during COVID while Tim Walz had people marching down streets to force people to stay in their houses or their nursing homes, or to stay away from their churches, or to stay out of businesses, right? Where were these people then? Yeah, they weren't out there, I'll tell you.
Every single day, ICE is conducting operations across the country. Every single day. Texas, Florida, California, those are the states with the largest number of apprehensions. We don't hear any incidents at all because of the cooperation, because ICE can go in and just quietly get the bad guys and be on their way. And these protesters, they're getting more and more violent. I just got video just a little while ago of a parking lot, a hotel there in the area. Every single car is vandalized because they're thinking it's federal workers, ICE agents, and they're destroying the cars.
What are you hearing from your sources at the White House in terms of President Trump's willingness to invoke the Insurrectionist Act? He, of course, threatened to do it probably a couple of weeks ago. Are your sources telling you that he's closer to following through on that at this point?
I do feel that we are getting closer to that official declaration of an Insurrection Act. Now, what has been done before, but if you look at some of the incidents that had happened on President Trump's watch in the previous administration, all of the Summer of Love stuff, that wasn't an Insurrection Act, although he did bring in National Guard on several occasions to, de-escalate things. But this would be, I think, a game changer in terms of really pushing back on the anarchy that is hitting U.S. cities, all in the name of being an anti-ICE movement.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Ahead on American Sunrise, President Trump says he and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are, quote, on the same wavelength following a phone call on Monday. In the meantime, tension between ICE and locals in the state of Minnesota remain heightened. Coming up, the latest Trump deployment that's targeted at bringing down the temperature there. Plus, the threat of another government shutdown is increasing as Senate Democrats push back against funding for the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. Missouri Congressman Mark Alford joins us with an insider's view of the negotiations. And then later, growing calls to impeach DHS Secretary Kristi Noem in the wake of the Minnesota mayhem. Is it just talk, or is there some real traction behind the effort? Those stories and so much more right now on American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. G. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in D-Bro in Washington, D.C. That would be David Brody and Terrance Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Dr. Gina, good morning. So look, it's a celebration, Dr. Gina. You may not tell anybody, but you know me, I can't hold water. It is your birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday, Dr. Gina.
Thank you.
We are in a celebratory mood. So look, I even got a hat for you. Look, we are ready for your celebration. And Dr. Gina, you may notice this jacket that I've got on. This is my ode to country music. In fact, DJ, please.
That's just, yeah, that's my favorite song. How'd you know?
Today's your day.
Oh, God.
The spotlight's on. We're singing loud. From dusk till
the world's a better place. The world's a better place.
You are so sweet. Thank you.
You got that glow.
See, you always say that we never play country music for you. You guys can keep playing that underneath this. You say we never play country music for you. So we wanted to make sure that we celebrate your birthday and we hear you. I almost feel like you're my own wife. I'm like, you are seen, Dr. Gina. You are heard. I hear you.
Thank you. You know what? just happy birthday, G. T. Bates, by the way, you look like something down in Mardi Gras, and I look like a conehead from Saturday Night Live. By the way.
Oh, you guys are so
we love
sweet.
You, G.
Thank you. I love you back.
Absolutely.
Thank you all so much. Terrance, do we have some headlines?
Oh, no, we want to keep talking about your birthday. Like, we're going to focus on your birthday for the rest of the show. The next 2 hours, Dr. Gina, is all going to be about you. No, we do have some headlines. Right. We were talking yesterday, guys, and you look great, David.
Thank you.
So look, it's not only your birthday, but Dr. Gina, the midterm elections also kick into high gear today as President Trump is headed over to Iowa for what's likely going to amount to a campaign rally. The White House says that POTUS is going to be making these sorts of campaign stops weekly leading up to the November midterms. Word on the street, by the way, is that the commander-in-chief's remarks are going to focus on energy, the economy, and affordability. And Dr. Gina, since it is your birthday, I'd love to get your thoughts first on where the president's policy focus should be right now.
I still think that Americans want to hear about domestic policy. Americans want to hear about what's going to affect their wallets, their families, their pocketbooks. And I just think that has to be the focus. I know that he loves what he's, and everybody loves, and you can relate back for sure the things that you've done abroad to what will happen to Americans domestically, because it is important and you can't take it away. You can't really separate the two. But there are just a lot of Americans out there. You know what it is, Terrance? They want to be seen. No, I'm not kidding, though. But, you know, it's just like you said. There are a lot of Americans out there that want to know that the president hears their concerns. They want to know that the things that he talked about when he was running are the things that are still the top of his priority list. Right, David? Don't you think?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on this. Look, you can walk and chew gum at the same time, but the walking needs to be louder than the smacking of the chewing of the gum. So the chewing of the gum will be all the foreign policy stuff. And you can kind of get into the gum works of all of that. It can get real sticky. He has got to walk this through to the American people domestically, and this is exactly what he's doing, and I'm glad that he's doing this, because, once again, I'm not saying you have to, it's an either-or situation. It's not. But you've got to, at least from a PR perspective, and, of course, on the ground as well, you've got to be able to show the American people that domestic policy is front and center, number one. No doubt about it.
Yeah. All right.
All right. We're going to continue to talk about all of this throughout the next couple of hours. But, Dr. Gina, would you give us our Bible verse, please?
Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6 is where it comes from today. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. President Trump says he and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz are on a similar wavelength after a phone call about the growing ICE-related tensions in that state. Trump posted on Truth Social that Walz asked to work together and that both men support sending border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota. The president called it a very good call and says they'll be speaking again soon. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had this to say about that call.
That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number one, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number two, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes.
All right, let's bring in Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. Congressman, as we kind of drill down on this, it's interesting to watch because, there are other states where all of the same things are happening. It just isn't getting violent because the leaders of those states either haven't woken up to the fact that it's happening yet or just aren't causing the resistance that those in Minnesota have caused.
Well, Gina, happy birthday. You're exactly right. These deportations have been going on for some time in other states where there is support from local and state officials to turn these criminal illegal aliens over to DHS for deportation. This is what the American people voted for. Let's make no mistake about this. Americans want people living here legally. And they want them to be part of the fabric of America, not ripping apart the fabric of America. What we're seeing in Minnesota right now, I think this organized planned chaos by the Democrats and others, if you delve into that a little bit, Cam Higby's reporting is remarkable on this on X, just how deep the levels of coordination and conspiracy go in this chaos in Minnesota. This is not happening in other parts of the country. This is because Joe Biden let 12 to 15 million illegal aliens into our great nation. These sanctuary cities sucked them up. They're protecting them, and they would rather have chaos and protect the illegal aliens over deporting those and repatriating them to their home countries and protecting future crime victims.
Congressman Tom Homan is going to Minneapolis. Greg Bovino gone out of Minneapolis back to California. What do you make of that specifically? Clearly, there's a shift in strategy here. And when I say strategy, I don't mean they're going to stop interior enforcement. That's going to continue. But maybe done a different way. Definitely from a political PR standpoint, this has not been good for the White House. Even the White House will admit that privately. I've talked to some sources saying that that is the case. So what do you see going forward? Because to me, it seems like we are now in the negotiation phase of what is Minnesota going to give the White House here and what will the White House give in return. My sense of it is that these at-large raids will, for the most part, stop, but instead it'll be targeted to criminals, illegal criminals, for the most part.
Well, I think it's a good assessment, David. Look, we need a change of quarterbacks on this team because we are not making progress. The defense has become radicalized. They are interfering illegally with federal law enforcement officers. We've seen 2 deaths already, and there's a common denominator in those deaths, by the way. But I think Tom Homan's going to do a good job, and he has a reputation of having worked with President Obama in deporting far more illegal aliens than President Trump has so far. And so Tom Homan has, I think, the respect. I think he's got the temperament, and I think he has the track record to get this done. And so I'm glad that he's going into Minnesota.
Congressman, it feels like Tom Homan is heading to Minnesota to broker a peace deal with the Minnesota law enforcement and with the governor and mayor there. Maybe my assessment is off, but that's what it feels like to me. Yeah. And then on the outskirts back there in Washington, D.C., the reality is we've got a deadline of Friday to fund the government, and Democrats in the Senate are holding up government funding on the issue of funding for DHS and ICE related to what's happening there in Minneapolis. What's your sense? Will there be another government shutdown? Does this thing get ironed out by Friday? Where are we going to be on Saturday morning?
Well, I know where I'll be. I'll be with my wife celebrating her 60th birthday, but I will not be in Washington, D.C., and I don't know any other House Republicans who will either. I am fed up by the games that Chuck Schumer and the left are playing in the U.S. Senate. I think if they try this, I have not been on board with this until now, but it's time to nuke the filibuster if they try this again. They are intent on hurting the American people simply because they have no message, no vision, and no leader, and they're deathly afraid of losing the midterms and not being able to impeach Donald J. Trump. We funded the Department of Homeland Security and others in this bill, Custom Border Protection, TSA, Coast Guard, Secret Service, and ICE, all under this one bill, about $65 billion overall. ICE was flat at $10 billion. And for them now to try to jack with what we have worked so hard on after their first shutdown, we got 12 of 12 appropriation bills done in the House and passed it over last week. We have not done that in 29 years. That is a momentous thing that we've done in Congress, in my opinion. And for the Senate now to hold that hostage or threaten to hold that hostage just shows you the depths that Chuck Schumer will go to stay relevant.
What's your sense? Do they back down or do they shut this thing down?
I think they shut it down. I think it will be a short-term shutdown, but the American people have had it. They realize the benefits of the one big beautiful bill that are now kicking in this first quarter and will become even more relevant and apparent in the second and third quarter. The economy is likely to take off like we have not seen it since the Reagan days. The Democrats know that, and they are deathly afraid of losing the midterms. So they're going to hang on to everything they can to try to bring this president down, to try to bring the Republicans down, and to try to have their way with the American people based on lies, falsehoods, gaslighting, and deception.
Congressman Alford, I love that the economy is going to take off like we've never seen it. Optimism. I can't wait for that. And listen, tell my fellow Aquarian, your wife, happy birthday.
I will.
All right.
I shall.
Yeah, by the way, speaking about what we love that shot behind you. You win shot of the day. That's a nice thing. That's snazzy, as my dad would
From my little basement in Kansas City, Missouri. So.
All right. Oh, that sounds so nice. Where I bet it's nice and
bunker.
cold.
Thank you.
That's right. I'm in the bunker. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thanks, Congressman.
All right, coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the RAV newsroom with Terrance Bates. Also later, Borders Czar Tom Homan heads to Minneapolis. The president says he's sending him there to oversee operations. What do you expect? Well, we have expert analysis just ahead on American Sunrise.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap. This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
Hey, New Yorkers, I hope you slept well last night. Mayor Mamdani. Yeah, that's his name. I'm sure the leftists slept very well. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. I'm David Brody. So much for on-air screen time for me. We got to get right over to T. Bates. He's standing by with the latest headlines from the Real America's Voice newsroom, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
The jet setter-in-chief is hitting the skies again today, headed to Iowa. The White House says today's trip will kick off weekly travel by the president ahead of this year's midterms. 47 will deliver remarks about energy and the economy as well as affordability during his visit to the Des Moines area this afternoon. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley welcoming him with this video message.
In 2024, Iowans voted overwhelmingly to return President Trump to the White House to lower costs for families, to secure the border, and to bring down crime. Since then, Republicans have been delivering on those promises. Working alongside Trump, Congress stopped the largest tax increase in American history. Now in the Senate, I want you to know I'm going to continue working with the Trump administration to provide affordable options for Iowans.
the way, President Trump, no stranger to Iowa, he spent a good bit of time campaigning there and most recently visited that state in July to kick off the America 250 celebration. In other headlines this morning, while President Trump is shifting his focus to the economy and affordability, he and his staff will undoubtedly have one eye on the ongoing chaos in Minnesota. Mr. Trump says he and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz had a conversation on Monday, and to quote POTUS, "We actually seem to be on a similar wavelength." 47 followed that call up with the subsequent conversation with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Now that cooler heads seem to be prevailing, the president says he's sending border czar Tom Homan to the Twin Cities. Homan and Mayor Frey are set to meet today to discuss ways to move the Twin Cities closer to restoring law and order.
Border Czar Homan is in a unique position to drop everything and go to Minnesota to continue having these productive conversations with state and local officials. And I know that he's catching a plane in just a few hours to do just that at the request of the president. The most peaceful way to carry out this vital public safety mission is for Republicans and Democrats to do it together and for state and local law enforcement to work together with federal law enforcement. We want to let cops be cops.
Stay tuned to Real America's Voice throughout the day for updates on the Homan-Frey meeting. Now to the latest on the winter storm that has much of the country frozen like Elsa, Anna, and Olaf. If you've got kids, you get the reference. The deep freeze is forecast to continue throughout this week as the Northeast continues to dig out from underneath even more snow following Monday's snowfall there. At least 30 people have been reported dead as a result of the deathly cold temperatures and the conditions. The rising death toll includes 2 people who were run over by snowplows in Massachusetts and a couple of teenagers who died in sledding accidents in Arkansas and Texas, respectively. Let's bring in Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony for the very latest on this winter storm. Also, don't forget to log on to our social media platforms, Getter, Rumble, YouTube. Let us know where you're hanging out so that Tracy can give you a hometown forecast in our very next hour. Tracy, good morning to you. I hear the East Coast is bracing for yet another winter storm potentially this weekend. Is that right?
Yeah, we're watching a coastal low that's expected to develop off the coast. So, Terrance, not going to be the best situation because this week temperatures are staying so cold. And you see scenes like this from Nashville where the ice is just not going to be able to melt. And there's a lot of demand on infrastructure when the temperatures stay extremely cold. And that's going to continue to really be the case here over the next couple of days. So we still have over 250 million people under cold alerts this morning. So we do have widespread cold alerts, and temperatures are going to be very chilly throughout the remainder of the day. So, Terrance, this is going to be an ongoing cleanup process here, and it's very difficult for crews, linemen, people that work at the airports. So just be patient while they do their best.
Absolutely. Good advice. Tracy, we appreciate it. We'll check in with you next hour. Yep. Up next, political violence is rising across the country with reports of gunfire, arson, even vandalism. Fox News says the attacks are targeting people and places on both sides of the political aisle. So how can all of this be stopped? We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, a quick look at this day in history. It was on this day in 1945 that Soviet troops liberated the Auschwitz and Birkenau concentration camps in Poland, exposing the full horror of the Nazi death machine. More than 1 million innocent people, mostly Jews, were murdered at this camp via gas chambers, forced labor, starvation, and horrific medical experimentation. The liberation shocked the world and served as undeniable proof of evil when government power is left unchecked and human life is devalued. Today, that moment is commemorated as International Holocaust Remembrance Day, a sobering reminder that history must be taught truthfully, freedom must be defended, and never again must mean vigilance, not forgetfulness. We're back in a moment.
This This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Nashville, Tennessee, this bump shot dedicated to Gina on her birthday today. Dr. G needs to get to a karaoke bar stat in Nashville. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. All right, President Trump says he's deploying border czar Tom Homan to Minnesota after ICE operations in the Twin Cities turned chaotic, violent, and deadly. Trump posted on Truth Social that Homan is tough but fair. That was a quote, and says he's going to report directly to him as federal agents face growing backlash and protests. The White House says the move is aimed at restoring order and supporting immigration enforcement on the ground. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt expanded on all of this. Take a look.
Homan is the point person for cooperating with state and local authorities and corresponding with them, again, to achieve this level of cooperation to subdue the chaos on the streets of Minneapolis. And I would just point out that Mr. Homan is someone who has been lauded for many, many decades for his experience working in law enforcement. In fact, this is a Washington Post headline from 9 years ago, 2016. Meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. And I would remind everyone in this room that it was former President Barack Hussein Obama who awarded a medal to Mr. Homan. So he's obviously very qualified. He has the full trust and faith of the president. He will continue to have these meetings in the hopes that ICE and local law enforcement can cooperate and work together to have successful immigration enforcement, as we've seen in almost every other state across the country.
All right, let's now bring in former Pinal County Sheriff in Arizona, congressional candidate as well out there, Sheriff Mark Lamb. So, Sheriff, by the way, you are the sharpest dressed man on television. I want to say you are the ZZ Top guest, by the way.
Thank you.
For sure. Hey, so let's just...
And happy birthday, Dr. G.
Oh, thank you so much, Sheriff. Appreciate you. Thank you.
And I'm glad you didn't bury the lead, by the way. That is the lead, for sure.
I got it. I know how to... Look, I'm not dumb. I've been married for 31 years for a reason.
That's right.
Oh, you're playing it smart. All right. So let's just cut to the chase here. We all obviously applaud the Trump White House for cracking down on interior enforcement, but there's not been good PR here for the administration. So what kind of signal do you think this sends when you put Tom Homan out there in Minnesota? Because, you know, let's remember, Border Control Commander Greg Bovino is being shipped out of Minneapolis. So clearly there's going to be some sort of new approach here. What's your sense?
Well, first of all, I think that President Trump has made a lot of good moves here, and I think Tom Homan is another good move. I know Tom Homan very well. This is a guy who actually has done the job. He's put on the gun. He's put on the badge. He's been on the streets of America. He understands it. He's been awarded by President Obama for his work of removing people, which a lot of the left seems to have forgotten of the amount of removals that took place under President Obama. But it's not that the Trump administration is losing this narrative. What it is that the left has commandeered and hijacked the narrative. That's really what's happened here, because this is happening all across this country. But they found Minnesota. And let's not forget, this was on the heels of us discovering a ton of fraud in Minnesota. And now I think these elected officials in Minnesota were kind of happy to have that smoke screen over the last week or two with all of these ICE protests. But the reality is that across this country, the narrative's just fine. It's just in places like Minnesota, maybe New York, Chicago, some of these other places. But I think the administration is doing what the American people asked, which is to remove people that are in this country illegally.
You make such a great point that the leadership in Minneapolis wanted the distraction from the fraud. And for all of their screaming about the cost of human lives here, you think maybe they would have been a little more concerned about that than hiding from all the fraud. Maybe they could have just addressed the fraud. I don't know. But Sheriff, I want to ask you, the Minneapolis chief of police said this about the investigation into the Alex Preddy shooting. Take a look.
There are serious questions that are being raised, and I think the greater issue is, even if there is an investigation that ultimately proves that at the time of the shooting it was legally justified, I don't think that even matters at this point, because there is so much outrage and concern around what is happening in the city.
What do you mean it doesn't matter at this point? You mean the situation on the ground is already, the impression is left?
People have had enough. This is the third shooting now in less than 3 weeks. The Minneapolis Police Department went the entire year last year recovering about 900 guns from the street, arresting hundreds and hundreds of violent offenders, and we didn't shoot anyone. And now this is the second American citizen that's been killed. It's the third shooting within 3 weeks.
Your take on that, Sheriff?
Well, first of all, the law does matter. So if this was a justified shooting, that absolutely matters. You cannot give in to the mob with the pitchforks and the torches just because they want what they deem as justice. Justice is defined by the law, and they're going to determine whether or not this was a justified shooting. And really what matters in that is, how did those guys on the ground feel that were in that scuffle, in that moment? Did they fully feel that there was a imminent danger of physical injury or death to either themselves or somebody else? And that is really the only bar that needs to be met in this situation. And so that guy's completely wrong. And you cannot, as a chief and a leader of the law enforcement agency, give in to the mobs. Basically, that's what he was saying, and you cannot do it. What he should be out there saying is, folks, please do not obstruct our law enforcement in the duties of that and their performance of their duties. That is really what will quell this type of shootings. The reason why they haven't had their shootings, they also have not been confronted by these mobs like ICE and federal agents have been recently.
And also, Sheriff, sorry, Terrance, also, Sheriff, I think it needs to be noted that these ICE agents are carrying out orders. If you have a problem with what's going on, then your beef is not with the ICE agents. It might be with a lot of people. It might be with President Trump. It might be with Congress. It might be with the people that supported the laws to begin with, the laws that are on the books. But it's not with the ICE agent. They're doing their job.
Exactly. You are very perceptive for a 29-year-old woman, Dr. G. Look, they have a job to do, and the job has been set forth by Congress, by Senate. And if they really, this is what I've been saying for weeks, don't obstruct our law enforcement. If you have an issue with immigration policy and how it's being done, you should take that argument to our legislators, to our congressional members, to our Senate members, because they're the ones who have made the law. Don't go out and obstruct law enforcement. Not only is it inappropriate, it's illegal. Just because these people are not in handcuffs doesn't mean they're not breaking the law. Our law enforcement, our federal law partners, especially with the absence of local law enforcement, it doesn't mean they're not doing something illegal. They just don't have the bandwidth to arrest all these people.
Yeah, Sheriff Mark Lamb, great to have you. By the way, gentlemen, I think we laughed too hard when you said 29 years old with Gina. We were like,
sorry, 27. Sorry, I'm.
That's right. All right.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Sheriff Lamb.
That's right. Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, coming up, brutal cold, as everybody knows out there, many of us, gripping a large part of the country. We know it can be dangerous for your health. So in moments, simple ways to avoid hypothermia and frostbite. Plus, how to stay safe regardless, writ large, as we like to say. I just like to say that because I sound smart. All right, stay tuned. More American Sunrise in 2 minutes.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy. It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch real.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. We thank you for joining us this morning. Dallas, Texas happening there. It's cold everywhere. It's even cold here. I know you guys don't want to hear me complain, but when you're not equipped with proper clothing, it's cold no matter where you are, right? Today's health news is sponsored by The Wellness Company and Under the Microscope today, protecting yourself during this cold weather, even though the winter storm is, over the weekend kind of gone, but we've got a new one coming at us right now. The cold temperatures are going to stick around, they say. Health experts say the biggest risks are hypothermia and frostbite, which can happen faster than you think, apparently. Hypothermia occurs when your body temperature drops too low, causing shivering, confusion, slowed speech, and severe fatigue. Frostbite can damage skin and tissue, most often on fingers, toes, ears, and your nose. Cold weather can also strain the heart, especially when shoveling snow or doing heavy outdoor work. And doctors say limit time outside, dress in warm layers, that being the key, and get indoors if you feel numbness or dizziness. For more on how to stay healthy in the cold is the director of epigenetics for the Wellness Company, Dr. Ben Tapper. Dr. Tapper, I just want to be the director of epigenetics because that sounds really cool. Dr. Tapper, this past weekend's storm left a lot of people without electricity or heat, without access to food, unless they had stocked up prior. Many Americans think about the need to stockpile guns, ammo, food, and water before a major event like this winter storm. But why should they also stockpile prescription medications?
Well, what did we learn, Dr. Gina, during these snowstorms? I mean, roads shut down, pharmacies closed down, hospitals are overwhelmed. Refills to these medicines are almost impossible. So, if you're dependent upon, medicines and medications to survive, to function, to breathe, or to handle, infections or complications, it's vital. This isn't just an inconvenience. This is a life crisis. This is a life or death situation. So, having these medications on hand is vitally important. And so it can be life-saving.
Yeah, and a lot of people really don't realize that you can have medications that you thought maybe previously you had to go to the emergency room or into a doctor's appointment to have, but you can keep some of these on hand, and that's really important. What prescription medications do you recommend?
Well, anything antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. There's a broad spectrum of different things I'd recommend. But one of the best things you can get is the med kit from the Wellness Company. It treats over 30 different medical ailments. So I would highly recommend the emergency kit. They cover most of the ground there, or the contagion kit, the same thing. They cover most of basically everything that you would need in an emergency. So it's vitally important that people have these on hand. Again, in a snowstorm, something like this, you have emergency kit or even a travel emergency kit. It can really help you in a pickle.
All right. Now, doctor, in addition to prescription meds, how important is it to have a high quality prescription grade first aid kit on hand for emergencies, for what you might encounter? Sometimes you don't know.
Right. I mean, I have 5 kids. We live out in the woods. You just never know when things happen. I mean, there can be burns, there can be lacerations, there are falls. This travel emergency kit is by far the best of the best emergency kit I've seen. There is even an EpiPen in that travel emergency kit, a tourniquet, anything you need to handle burns, scrapes, bruises, you name it. But it's a very well thought out. Many doctors came together and formulated this kit. So it's not just your average kit that you get at the store. This is something that is extremely high grade. It's the best of the best emergency kit, and I do not leave home without it.
Mm-hmm. An ounce of preparation, right, doctor?
Yes.
And as far as for specifically cold-induced problems, which kit do you recommend from the Wellness Company?
My favorite is the contagion kit because it has the nebulizer, it has the hydroxychloroquine and vitamin I, which I call, ivermectin. But, the hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin are heavy hitters, but the nebulizer is phenomenal. That's something that a lot of people don't realize that can really help with respiratory issues. So the contagion kit is what I recommend.
All right. Dr. Ben Tapper, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Yeah, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, everybody knows the next medical crisis could be just around the corner, whether it comes in the form of a crippling winter storm or a pandemic or something more mundane like a tick bite. You want to be prepared. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. You know the Wellness Company. We have their great doctors like Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. Ben Tapper on all the time. The Wellness Company and their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription med kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy, whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit. These prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of the meds in the kits. Rest assured knowing that you have emergency antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics on hand to help keep you safe. Go to www.twc.health/RAV today. Give it an order. That's twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. That'll save you 10%. Next medical emergency isn't a question of if, it's always when. A storm, a pandemic, a tick bite, be ready. Wellness Company delivers doctor-prescribed medical emergency, contagion, first aid, and travel kits stocked with antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics, plus clear treatment guides. Trusted physicians, real medicine, peace of mind. Prepare now. Don't wait. All right, coming up, woke culture on college campuses. A New York Post opinion piece says it's still spreading, including at Brooklyn College, with required classes featuring privilege quizzes and racial healing. Is it education or is it indoctrination? Well, we're going to tell you next.
Minnesota's headlines are getting wild. Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar are being accused of massive fraud, and it's so bad, all you can do is laugh at this point. So from Real America's Music, the label that brought you the #1 hit, Anthem of the Free, comes a brand new song from singer-songwriter Natasha Owens, The Somali Waltz. Let's make the music industry mad and run this to #1. Scan the QR code or search The Somali Waltz on iTunes and buy it right now. The Somali Waltz, available everywhere. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It's time to stay awake, not woke. And today we are discussing woke practices on college campuses. Let's start with the new opinion piece from the New York Post. It claims woke programming is still spreading on U.S. college campuses, including at Brooklyn College in New York. The editors cite a required counseling course that includes collective racial healing, trauma-informed activities, and a privilege quiz with material suggesting whites benefit from privilege and can weaponize whiteness. Critics call it ideological indoctrination, while supporters argue it promotes equity. The piece says the fight over campus culture is far from over. Let's bring in Terrance and Dr. Gina. Gina, your thoughts on this? I mean, this is no surprise. College campuses have been indoctrinating young people in this country with woke ideology for far too long.
Yeah, well, I'd like someone out there to teach all of the men that have been completely emasculated, white, black, or otherwise, but they've been emasculated because the feminist movement has so degraded them. And I'd like someone to teach all the little white boys out there what they get out of a system that, because of DEI for decades now, has discriminated sharply against them. Even as a mom, I've confided on this program that I advised my children don't go into things where there's a DEI program, because you won't be accepted. You will be discriminated against. Do something else. Make your own way. Pursue an entrepreneurial pursuit. People ask me all the time, why don't I insist, with all of my degrees and how I went to so much college, why didn't I insist that my kids go? Well, this is why. Because it's all DEI based, and I didn't want my kids put at a disadvantage. Go earn your way on merit, kids. You can do it. And that's what I told them because of this. So I'd like to know where the privilege is, Terrance.
Yeah, and I think we all agree that merit is the way to go. Unfortunately, there has been a history of not necessarily acknowledging merit, be it black, white, indifferent. People have done well, but their merit hasn't necessarily been acknowledged, and that's part of the problem. And so let's really acknowledge merit and compare things apples to apples. I think
Terrance,
that's,
don't you think, as a black man, don't you think that it makes it is so insulting? Do you know that I have a mixed race background? I know I don't look like it, but I do. But I am so personally insulted. And I think if I really were black, I would be so insulted that people out there advocate that somehow I need special help to get where I'm going. That is insulting to me. Do you feel that way?
Similarly, what's insulting, though, is when you know that you're prepared for certain opportunities, when you know that you have worked hard for certain opportunities, but you're not giving it because people have prejudged you and don't think that because of your race or your background or whatever the case may be, that you're not prepared. I'll give you an example. As you know, Dr. Gina, and this is years ago, but it's always stuck with me. I grew up in Germany. I'm a military brat, have traveled the world. I was in journalism school, and I took an international foreign correspondence course. And the first day, the professor says, all right, so where all have you been in the world? And so she's going from student to student, and they're saying, oh, I've had experiences here. And so with me, when it came to me, I was the only black student. She said, so where have you been? Or have you been anywhere? And her assumption was, I assume because I'm black, that I hadn't had any experiences, that I hadn't been anywhere. And I was just as prepared as any other student there. I had had the experiences and had been prepared to do the work, but she had a certain perspective. She came in with a predisposition about me. And I think we need to do away with those predispositions and take people as they are.
I think that's really well said, Terrance. Absolutely. And I think that, something about college campuses, right? These conversations are really important to be having in your communities, within your families. But college, let's focus on the core curriculum. Let's get back to education.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, great conversation, as always, you guys. We still have a whole lot more coming up on American Sunrise. Coming up, from mass kidnappings in Africa to deadly crackdowns across Asia and the Middle East. Christians are being targeted for their faith. Critics say the world is looking away as the violence spreads. The global crisis is escalating fast, and America's role could be critical. On this International Holocaust Remembrance Day, never again is now. More ahead in just 2 minutes. Stay with us.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch real.
God bless the USA. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It's time now for our Moments of Faith, brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today on this International Holocaust Remembrance Day, there is horrific global violence happening against Christians right now, with record-breaking numbers facing persecution and brutal attacks. From mass kidnappings and slaughter in Africa to deadly crackdowns across Asia and the Middle East, believers are being targeted simply for their faith by evil extremists and lawless regimes. Critics say the global elite and weak leaders have ignored this bloodshed for far too long, while America must stand strong for religious freedom and defend the innocent. This is a rapidly escalating global crisis. For more, let's welcome to American Sunrise Billy Hallowell, digital host and journalist at CBN News. Billy, always great to have you on the show. Thanks for being with us. As I was speaking about right there, weak leaders, I think this really boils down to. I mean, Nicki Minaj has been talking about the Christians being persecuted in Nigeria more than any leaders across the globe. Make that make sense.
Well, yeah, it doesn't make sense. You have rappers and celebrities speaking out now more than really some of our world leaders. You know, the Trump administration has taken this seriously. They added Nigeria back to the countries of particular concern list with the State Department. That puts pressure on Nigeria. But, you know, at the end of the day, you've even seen the media downplay some of this, the way that they've covered Nigeria, acting as though persecution isn't a main driver. There are other issues there in Nigeria, but more Christians die in Nigeria than in any other country around the world. That is where the majority of persecution is happening. And when you have a situation with 388 million Christians across the world facing what Open Doors USA calls high levels of persecution and discrimination simply because of their faith, I mean, 388 million people, that's more than the number of people we have in America around this world facing that. We've got to take this seriously and do something about it. And by the way, that translates into 1 in 7 Christians overall who are persecuted worldwide.
My God, those statistics are just absolutely shocking, and we have to do something about it. Christians around the world need to come together and really amplify their voices to put an end to this. But what does that look like? What kind of help could Christians around the world even give to people being persecuted?
You know, it's so interesting. I think the first thing we often forget about is prayer. You know, people, and the Bible tells us this, to pray for those who are being persecuted. And, you know, it's convicting to me because we see these headlines, we talk about it, and that's all important, but we need to be out there praying for our brothers and sisters who are struggling around the world. And we also need to be partnering up with organizations. There's Christian Solidarity International, Open Doors USA. These are organizations that don't only track persecution, but they're on the ground in different countries around the world, providing aid. Across Nigeria is another great nonprofit that is literally trying to re-educate people in Nigeria to help prevent this sort of thing. So there's preventative measures being taken, and then there's also helping people who are, falling prey to these mostly Islamic radicals who are driving a lot of this. And, in a place like North Korea, it's the government, right? So this is happening across the world. And just so people understand, last year, almost 5,000 Christians were killed. Wow. Another 4,700 detained, and 3,600 houses of worship and Christian properties were attacked and destroyed. So this is a major, major issue.
It's certainly something that we can't look away from. Billy, I do want to get your take on this, with people struggling with their confidence in their Christian faith, right? You're seeing thousands of people being killed across the globe, people being persecuted, being ridiculed at the very least for their Christian faith. What would you say to someone who is struggling with staying true and sticking with the faith?
Yeah, especially people in America, who are struggling with this. We complain about a lot of things. Our lattes aren't hot enough when we go to the coffee shop. We live with a lot of privilege in America, and thank God for America, what we have here. But I think when it comes to our faith, it's really easy to get discouraged. And I don't say that to minimize the discouragement we might have or the persecution we might face. But I will tell you that when people around the world can get up knowing that they could die for simply having a Bible, that they could be killed for simply, going to church. They're in house churches underground. When those people can stand up and defend their faith, we have no excuse not to share our faith with others, not to stand up and not to have confidence when people are literally risking their lives around the globe simply to exercise their belief. And we have those freedoms, and we need to remember that.
We have to stand with them. We can't look away from this. Billy Hallowell, thank you so much for being on the program and shining some light on this crucial topic.
Thank you.
We'll be back with the second hour of American Sunrise in 2 minutes. Stick around.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy. It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch real.
Coming up on this second hour of American Sunrise, President Trump says he had a good call with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as unrest continues to grip that state. In the meantime, he's now sending border czar Tom Homan to the state in order to try to defuse the continuing outbursts that have been happening between federal agents and local police. We'll talk about it. Plus, New York City Mayor and admitted socialist Zoran Mondani is facing a backlash after he revealed that his administration will not be vetting legal status for children who are entering the city's school system. We'll dig into that story. Plus, a partial government shutdown appears more likely than ever after the Senate postponed another key vote and more Democrats signal their unwillingness to fund ICE and the Department of Homeland Security. The details on all of those stories and so much more right now on this second hour of American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back to this second hour of American Sunrise. I'm Terrance Bates. As always, we appreciate you being here with us. I'm coming to you from our Denver newsroom. Let's bring in Dr. Gina. She's in our West Palm Beach studio, or the Palm Beaches, as she often likes to say. Dr. Gina, it is good to see you. Happy birthday. We celebrate you on this fateful day.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for not asking if I'm 29 again. I need to come up with a really good, I've been asking ChatGPT on the breaks, come up with a really good response to, are you 29 again? Because literally everyone says that. And guess what? It's not funny. It's not original. It's not creative. Ooh. There've got to be some other good things we can say to people in regard to their birthday for that second line after happy birthday. Because I know everybody just wants to engage in conversation. There've got to be, and there've got to be some really good comebacks. Okay. All right. Here we go.
I've got a good line. So here's what I will say from now on. Okay. And it's what I'm thinking.
You didn't say it.
Gina, happy birthday.
You didn't say
and I probably won't, because I've had bad experiences with going on the whole age thing. I will simply say, Dr. Gina, happy birthday to you, and God continues to bless you.
Oh, that's so very, see, that's lovely and creative and original and heartfelt. I like that. I like that.
That's only after years of failures and getting the side eye. So I wish I could say, oh yeah, no, it's years of failure and the side eye.
You've been chiseled into that one, huh? Somebody slapped you right into that. Well, no, I appreciate the birthday wishes, even when they're a little rote. And I've said it to people, so I'm not like attacking anyone. I just realized that that's literally what everyone says to me today. I'm like, this isn't going to work. All right, listen. We got to get to some headlines. T, do you have some? I don't know if this is your read or mine, but I think it's yours.
You know what? My birthday present to you is to allow you to sit back, relax, and I will take this read. How about that, Dr. Gina?
I've got my pink cup. I'm just going to have a little tea here. You go ahead.
All right, there we go. President Trump kicking off the midterm election campaign season today with a trip to Iowa. The White House says he'll address issues related to energy, the economy, and affordability. Today's trip will kick off weekly appearances across the country for the commander-in-chief. During the winter storm that has much of the country in its grips, 47 already out with a flurry or avalanche of candidate endorsements leading up to the midterms. While POTUS is campaigning in Iowa, his border czar, Tom Homan, will be trying to make peace in Minneapolis. The president is dispatching the border czar to the Twin Cities in order to meet with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. The two are expected to hash out ways for the feds and local law enforcement to work together to capture dangerous illegal aliens who are roaming the streets of that city. Today's meeting, by the way, comes on the heels of two deadly ICE-involved shootings in the area, the most recent happening this past Saturday. And weather continues to make major headlines this week, as at least 30 deaths are being blamed on the winter storm that's wreaking havoc on about 2/3 of the country. Making matters worse, there doesn't appear to be any letting up when it comes to the below freezing temperatures. Plus, another winter storm is forecast to hit the East Coast this weekend. That gets us to our forecast. Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony standing by with more on what you can expect out there. She also has your hometown forecast. Tracy, I suspect that for most hometowns, the forecast is going to be pretty similar.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cold across the country, and I was cruising for a bruising last week, talking about our warm temperatures, because I woke up this morning, it's chilly. Jacksonville, you're going to be chilly as well. This coming in from Flashosaurus on Gitter. We're dropping down to the 50s, so a lot of areas across Florida even feeling those cooler temperatures. So hang in there. Hopefully it's not going to last too long. But take you all the way up to Alaska. This is from Robbie Dale. 28 degrees today. You're going to have a few snowflakes out there, but look at how mild it is in Alaska. Now, Alaska is going to be a lot warmer than a good amount of the towns across the 2/3 of the lower 48. If you're east of the Rockies, that's where it's going to be chilly. Notice even Branson, Missouri. This from Veronica Whalen on YouTube. We're going to be in the 30s and 40s, but this weekend, you're actually going to be cooler than Alaska. Alaska's going to be warmer than you. So just some interesting temperature dynamics across the country. Now, we've gotten some good video coming in, Terrance, over the last couple of days, and I watched this video of them skiing and tubing behind this Jeep in Philly, and it kind of reminded me of skijoring. So we were talking about it on Weather Nation. Do you know what skijoring is?
I have never heard of this, skijoring. Please do enlighten me.
I'm going to send you a video. It's where they ski behind horses and they go over like jumps. It's so fun to watch.
skijoring.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I feel more enlightened. I had never heard of this. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to do anything behind a horse, so it's not something that I'll be participating in, but I'm looking forward to the video. Tracy, thank you.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk later on. Skijoring, never heard of that. Well, President Trump reportedly spoke on the phone with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz yesterday. In fact, the White House is confirming it now. In a True Social post, the president writing, Governor Tim Walz called me with the request to work together with respect to Minnesota. It was a very good call, and we actually seem to be on a similar wavelength. I told Governor Walz that I would have Tom Homan call him and that what we are looking for are any and all criminals that they have in their possession. That's coming from President Trump. The president has also reportedly spoken with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who will be meeting with Board Czar Tom Homan to discuss matters further today. Joining us now with analysis is RAV Chief White House Correspondent Brian Glenn. Dr. Gina is also back for the conversation. So, Brian, there's so much really coming out of the White House right now, specifically as it relates to President Trump heading to Iowa. But as he's in Iowa, I suspect he's going to have one eye on the situation in Minneapolis, and what I say is kind of a peace summit between Tom Homan and the powers that be in Minneapolis.
I agree. Now, Terrance, I'm going to give you a throwback word we haven't heard from years. That would be the Yellow Book pages. We need to see if there's perhaps two Tim Walz in Minnesota, because if they had a great phone call and Governor Walz was receptive to Tom Homan coming to his state and restoring chaos, there could be, in fact, two Tim Walz, because that's not the Tim Walz that has been on every left-leaning network talking about, go away, we don't want you here, you're disrupting our state. So, in fact, if President Trump did have a productive phone call with Tim Walz, that is good. But I think we're dealing with a theater kid here in Tim Walz, and I don't think that any of that took place.
Hey, Brian, I also want to mention that joining us from Iowa just ahead of President Trump's scheduled speech is the host of Breaking Point here on RAV, David Zier. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Dr. Gina, happy birthday.
Thank you, babe. Thank you.
Sorry I didn't come to you first, David, because you look like you're freezing out there.
I know,
we probably need to talk more about that than anything else. I really apologize to you. So let's make this quick for you. President Trump will be there in Iowa. And I've been saying this all morning. This is really the kickoff of the midterms. I don't care what people are saying or not saying. This is the kickoff of the midterms.
Yeah, it's below zero here, Terrance, with the wind chill. We're at the Horizon Event Center, capacity, a couple of thousand people here. But this is really important. We're in the 3rd Congressional District here, home to Zach Nunn, in a toss-up race here. And just east of here, Marionette Miller-Meeks in the 1st District, also vulnerable. It would be 50% of the allowable losses if both of them were to lose in November here. The rest of the country could only afford to lose 2 more seats to the Republicans here. But Zach Nunn is talking about affordability on the ground here. He has a proposal, the Campus Housing Affordability Act, even to use Section 8 vouchers for students on campuses, and the Rural Housing Act to streamline USDA repairs for seniors and low-income people here in the state. And 2 Dems just dropped out of the primary race the other day here for a unified front to take on the Republican candidate here in the 3rd District here. A lot going on. And then Congresswoman Marionette Miller-Meeks, I don't think she got funding for the E15 mandate here for the 2025 budget. She's working on it in Congress now. And, you know, that's a fuel additive. It's critical to Iowa farmers, also critical to cheap prices at the pump, averaging 10 to 30 cents lower per gallon here. Could be used in cars made after 2021 here. A lot going on the ground here. And you also have, for the first time in about 60 years, open seats for governor. Kim Reynolds not running again, and Joni Ernst not running again. Randy Feenstra is going to be running for that U.S. Senate seat. Iowa could be at the epicenter of the 2024 midterm elections.
Sounds like it. Wow. Brian, I want to ask you, because we're seeing more and more Democrat lawmakers, including senators who will be voting on funding bills in the coming days, refusing to fund ICE and the Department of Homeland Security because of everything going on. This comes, of course, as the shutdown deadline is coming right at us, right? Breathing down our necks, quite literally. What do you think will happen here? What are your predictions? What do you know from the inside, more importantly, that we might not be privy to out here in Newsland?
Well, I think we're going to see a government shutdown. It'll be on the hands of the Democrats. And remind you, when we had that 43-day-long shutdown previously, President Trump and Republicans took time to go ahead and say, all right, well, maybe we don't need these particular jobs, and did kind of a rescission, if you will, to some of the agencies. So if this is, in fact, what the Democrats want, if they want to defund and they want to make sure ICE and Border Patrol is not funded just because they're a little butthurt that all this is going on in their state and they got too much pride, then so be it. But this will go on the hands of Democrats if they choose to do so. Now, if there's any language changed at all in this bill, it needs to go back to Congress. Well, guess what? They're out of session until, I believe, Monday, and the deadline to get the thing funded is on Saturday. So that would put it definitely, even if they changed it, I think we're still having a government shutdown.
Hey, David, really quickly, and you've been talking super fast, probably because it's so cold out there, so I'll try to make my question a little quicker. President Trump is expected to talk about the economy, energy, as well as affordability while he's there in Iowa. But the thing that comes to my mind is immigration. It seems to me that this will be a great site for an immigration talk, because it comes to mind the superintendent there in Des Moines, who was an illegal immigrant. He was a superintendent of schools there and was caught. This is a perfect example of President Trump's immigration policy and how it's working and how it's finding people who are in this country illegally, even some that have achieved pretty significant heights. Iowa is a perfect case study for that, it seems to me.
It's a great point, Terrance. And also the other day, the Iowa State Legislature proposed a bill which would mandate that local law enforcement throughout the state cooperate with ICE here. And that's going to be a critical point, you know. And just to add here, Trump won this state by 13 points. Even the Des Moines Register said he was only going to, he was going to lose. There is a mandate here supporting Trump. He cleaned house in the Iowa caucuses. Let's see if he can maintain that lead and come out for these congressional candidates strong.
David Zier, Brian Glenn, both reporting for us this morning. David, please go get warm.
Get warm.
I'm cold just looking at you.
Me too. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you both. All right. Coming up, New York City Mayor Zoran Mondami sparking controversy yet again, this time after confirming the city will not check immigration status for kids in pre-K and 3K. We'll have the details when we come back.
Money missing, new millionaires, all the kids are leering in fake days.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch real.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Emily Finn. Time now to drain the swamp, and this morning we are flushing out New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. The socialist mayor has confirmed that New York will not check immigration status for children enrolling in universal pre-K and 3K. Mamdani insists that every child in the city is a New Yorker, regardless of immigration status, and said that ICE agents will continue to be barred from schools, hospitals, and city property unless they present a judicial warrant. Critics, however, argue the policy goes beyond childcare and into immigration enforcement, raising questions about public safety, federal cooperation, and whether the city is prioritizing ideology over accountability. Others warn that the policy could incentivize illegal immigration while shifting costs onto taxpayers. Let's bring in Dr. Gina, Terrance, and David for more here. David, want to get your thoughts on this. You know, this is what I say every time we have a Mamdani headline. We saw this train wreck coming. We knew that this guy was going to be bad for New York.
Yeah, this feels like a copy and paste situation, right? We saw this train wreck coming, copy, paste, Control C, Control V, and pop it in the script because it's true. And ideology is all part of this, guys. And we can copy and paste that with Mamdani as well. By the way, did you see Mamdani? He was out shoveling snow in this snowstorm out in New York. You know, of course, he's in Bedford-Stuyvesant. You know, I'm sorry, Bedford-Stuyvesant. Sorry, I went a little New York there. Bedford-Stuyvesant, kind of shoveling snow. Yeah, Bedford-Stuyvesant, yeah, and shoveling snow and doing this whole thing. And then later they show a picture of him holding his lower back going, oh, it's killing me. And you know what? Okay, he's holding his lower back, Dr. G, but I think a lot of other people are holding their noses.
Yeah, I mean, really? You think if we incentivize things with financial incentives that more people are going to do it? You really think if we pay people to do things, we're going to get more of them? Wow, what a genius concept. I'm so glad people are finally catching on to this. It's just sad that Kami Mamdani actually believes in this stuff. And actually, he doesn't believe in this stuff. What he believes on is the destruction of America. Let's shoot it straight like it is, because we can laugh all day long, but this isn't funny. This is someone with an agenda to destroy America from within, trying to do exactly that, and now having a license to do it.
She's ranting on her birthday.
Birthday rants.
David, since you espoused your computer proficiency with the Control C, Control V, I'll up you one and push Control Z to undo all of this. And hopefully that's what New York voters will do sooner than later. They will undo this Mamdani experiment. And we've said it all along. You know, your votes count, and you get what you vote for. And New Yorkers are probably going to be regretting their votes sooner than later.
I think you're right, Terrance. All right, coming up on American Sunrise, former special counsel Jack Smith's first public testimony last week is still garnering strong reaction from Capitol Hill. In moments, we'll tell you why as American Sunrise continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was the cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bio-arms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Hi, my name is Tracy L. from Arizona. I don't stink around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch real.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back. We're getting ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's set to ring in about 7 minutes. And of course, we'll take you there live as we do every day. Here's a quick look at the futures. Let's pull up the board. It's kind of a mixed bag, as you can see right there. Again, we'll take it to New York for the opening bell here in just a little bit. And then you'll get a good view of how the markets are looking as this day of trading gets underway. Now, though, let's get you back over to David Brody. David, good morning, sir.
Good morning, T-Bates. By the way, I just want to say the one visual of this show is you in that Mardi Gras hat at the top of the show. I cannot escape it, just so you know. You still have it.
I still have it. Yes, sir, I do.
Why do I have a feel like you're going to play Dixieland music and just just got to go off into the sunset? All right, T-Bates. That's a classic. As we covered last week, former special counsel Jack Smith appeared before the Republican-led House Judiciary Committee for a public testimony on his investigations into President Trump. During his testimony, Smith labeled President Trump as the singular person who caused the events of January 6th, going so far as to say that he sought to exploit violence. And guess what, folks? He said it all with a straight face. Join us now with analysis as the host for the Case for America here on RAV. That would be Terrance Bates. Terrance, great to have you here on the show. So look, you were obviously at the Capitol on January 6th, ultimately pardoned by the president. What is your reaction when you hear Jack Smith peddle what he was peddling on the Hill?
Now, which lies specifically do you want a reaction to? But I'll dive right in. So, look, first of all, Jack Smith, this came out early on in that hearing. You heard where Brandon Gill was hitting Jack Smith with some pretty tough questions. And kudos to Brandon Gill on that effort. Brandon Gill flushed out that Jack Smith obviously obfuscated. He failed to tell the judge when he was seeking these warrants for subpoenas. He failed to tell the judge that he was actually targeting members of Congress, sitting members of Congress, not only sitting members of Congress, the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. These are the kind of concerns that should be riveting to the American public. You cannot target members of Congress, but this is a continuation of the lie, of the Fedsurrection, et cetera, et cetera. David, you've seen this playbook in action, and we're witnessing it unfold. But now we're seeing the exposure of it. And the question is when someone going to do something about it?
Yeah, and you've been targeted yourself. And speaking about targeting and unlawful warrant searches and seizures and the Fourth Amendment. I want to ask you a little bit about the Fourth Amendment here, because we have a situation in Minnesota. We have this ICE legal memo that came out, basically saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've read the memo. It doesn't seem like I'm wrong here, but ICE is taking administrative warrants and sometimes going into folks' homes without their approval. And you can't do that with an administrative warrant. In other words, you can do, as you know, you can do it with a judicial warrant, but with an administrative warrant, you have to be asked into the home. The understanding, though, according to this ICE memo, is that they're allowing ICE agents to actually go into a home without approval from someone that's in the home. What is your view and take on what we're hearing about that?
Yeah, I'm glad to deliver some clarity on that issue. So think about this. You're talking about the Fourth Amendment. That's fine. Look, the Bill of Rights and the amendments which within extend to the American citizens. Many rights in the Constitution do not extend to people who are non-citizens that are subject to maybe immigration courts or deportations. These situations are flushed out under the 14th Amendment, who is clearly a citizen, who is not a citizen. And this is where the mainstream media has taken hold of this idea and said, so think about this. Also, don't forget, January 6th, nobody seemed to care that we were labeled domestic terrorists, and domestic terrorists have a different set of rights, essentially, than the average citizen. So under terrorism. But when you have illegal immigrants who, under the 14th Amendment, don't have the same rights, they can't vote, or they're not supposed to, as we've seen that they do time and again. They don't have those rights, but yeah, they can't bear arms. They can't own a gun in the United States. All of these things that are not afforded them, 14th Amendment, look no further. These are where some of the problems stem from, is that this has been played out to the American people to believe that ICE is just going indiscriminately door to door searching for illegals. That's not what's happening here. I see ICE agents pulling up in front of homes, exercising these warrants for deportation courts to get people out of the country that are not supposed to be here, that Alejandro Mayorkas and the Biden criminal syndicate allowed into this nation.
Good perspective. I guess the question that becomes, what if the home is actually owned by a U.S. citizen and there's an illegal immigrant inside that home? So then it becomes, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, then I think you're harboring a fugitive.
Right. Good point. And by the way, you just dropped the mic after that. Okay. Let's talk about the case for America. Obviously, you're going to be talking about a lot of different things on the show. What about Joby Weeks? Give us this preview about that and other cases on this weekend's docket. We got about, look at that. I look at the clock. We have like a minute, so take your time.
Oh, great. Thanks. Yeah. So, well, I'm always at a loss for words, but I'm going to try real hard. So as it comes to Joby Weeks, look, this is a case, you're going to see the case of Joby Weeks exposed here. You have clear First Amendment violations. This is another operation where it is a government operation to redistribute or steal wealth from the American citizens, fleece them for something that they couldn't control. He wasn't a fiduciary at Bitcoin or the Bitcoin model, if you will. We'll use that loosely. Joby Weeks was an interesting character that took an interest in this. He was essentially a promoter of the idea, but his speech was, again, the problem. And this is where a DOJ that has gone way too far have subverted the rights of an American citizen. They have cornered him into this position, and they came at him with the same playbook, right? We're going to hammer you, hammer you, hammer you. We're going to hit you with an incessantly ridiculous number of charges, and your only option to keep from going to prison for the rest of your life and everything being stolen from you will be to absolutely give this plea deal.
All right. The case for America. Now, see how quickly a minute goes by. We got to run. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you, Terrance. All right. Thanks for being on board. Time for T. Bates. He's on board. He's got the New York Stock Bell. Stock Bell? The Stock Bell? I don't know. I decided to call it the Stock Bell. It is sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
The applause is already underway in anticipation of the ringing of what David Brody likes to refer to as the stock bell. The New York Stock Exchange bell is going to ring here in short order, and we'll get an idea of how this day of trading is going to look. Gold.com is there on the podium, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the David Brody stock bell, or the bell at the New York Stock Exchange, now ringing. And here's a quick look at how the markets are looking. The Dow is in the red, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are both in the green. The rest of our board, though, not looking so great, particularly precious metals. We'll, of course, continue to monitor all of this for you throughout the day and continue to update you. Still to come here on American Sunrise, though, shutdown odds are skyrocketing after a deadly shooting in Minneapolis sparks a political firestorm. The betting markets are now pegging the chances of a shutdown at around 75%. So could Washington be heading for a January 30th shutdown? We'll discuss after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Minnesota's headlines are getting wild. Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar are being accused of massive fraud, and it's so bad, all you can do is laugh at this point. So from Real America's Music, the label that brought you the #1 hit, Anthem of the Free, comes a brand new song from singer-songwriter Natasha Owens, The Somali Waltz. Let's make the music industry mad and run this to #1. Scan the QR code or search The Somali Waltz on iTunes and buy it right now. The Somali Waltz, available everywhere.
The Somali Waltz, and coming soon to a state near you. New name, same tune. The Somali Waltz.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him in Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to hop on in our conversation on YouTube, Getter, and Rumble. And it is time now to take the political pulse of America. Here's the beat today. The odds of a federal government shutdown surging after a deadly Border Patrol-related shooting in Minneapolis sent shockwaves through Washington and the betting markets as well. Prediction markets spiked Saturday, putting the chances of a shutdown at around 75%, you guys, as Dems called on the Senate to block a DHS funding bill that would keep ICE and FEMA operating through the end of this fiscal year. The pressure campaign intensified after video circulated of the fatal shooting of the 37-year-old Alex Preddy, the second such incident involving federal immigration officers in the city this month. With Republicans holding just 53 seats in the Senate and the bill needing 60 votes, even just a handful of Democrat defectors could trigger a partial government shutdown, and that could happen as early as January 31st, just a couple days away. Joining us now with the analysis is the host of America's Voice Live and the Steve Gruber Show. This always just sounds like the most intelligent sentence of the show. The host of the Steve Gruber Show is indeed Steve Gruber. Good morning.
Good morning.
Steve,
glad to be here.
Did you bet on any of the betting sites? And if you aren't a betting man, then where do you land on this?
Look, I placed one bet in the last 15 years and gave Indiana a few more points than I should have. I lost. I won't be doing it for another 15 years. I don't bet. But I will say this. When it comes to political races, like the race for the White House in 24, those betting markets were pretty accurate because it's kind of like asking the whole world, what do you think, who's going to win this thing? The government shutdown, look, we've come full circle, haven't we? defund the police. Apparently, if this is what the Democrats think is the right way to go, they'll defund the police. But look, what happened in Minneapolis is terrible. It's a tragic thing. But the fact of the matter is, hanging your hat on defunding the police, well, for two reasons, it's a bad idea. Number one, ICE is funded with $75 billion through 2029. You won't impact ICE funding. You'll impact FEMA. You'll impact Homeland Security. You're not going to touch ICE funding. It's good through 2029. So it's a performative act of politics. That's all it is. But they think that they have an issue here. Anything to distract from the massive fraud in Minneapolis, anything to distract from the massive fraud in California, Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, and a lot of red states too. Please, this is not germane just to blue states. It's more prevalent, I believe, because they're defending, tooth and nail to keep all of these illegals in Minnesota. Why? They need those votes. My estimation on that. So defunding the police, not a great idea. Doesn't play well. Doesn't even play well with Democrat friends of mine. They think it's the dumbest thing they've ever heard. I would happen to agree with that. I think it's a losing proposition. Look, they shut down the government for 43 days at the end of last year. They got nothing out of it. They looked foolish. And by the time we get to November, a government shutdown in January, February, nobody's going to remember that either. And again, ICE is funded through 2029. What are you trying to prove?
Let's talk about ICE. Let's talk about what's going on in Minneapolis. The Trump administration, as you know, Steve, they've announced these personnel changes. You got Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino. He's been jettisoned to California. He's gone. Homan is in Minnesota. How do you see this exactly? Like, what's happening here? I can tell you this. I've talked to a couple of sources that are in the administration. And how do I say this? There's a difference of opinion between what Kristi Noem and DHS is doing writ large in Minneapolis. In other words, quantity over quality. Homan, I think, is going to go in and do quality. In other words, the illegal criminals, the worst of the worst. That was kind of the deal all along. And then it got broader. The PR nightmare started to happen because this is a PR nightmare. And to be clear, the caveat always has to be, well, none of this would be happening if it weren't for Walz and Fry and all of their ridiculous sanctuary city policies. We know that to be the case. But it is what it is right now. What do you make between quantity and quality and this testosterone recalculation?
Well, I think I think there were some ill-advised things said in front of the microphones following that shooting, and jumping to conclusions. Let's get an investigation done. We say that in this program. Let's do an investigation. And I've got to be honest with you right now. This shooting is not a great one. It's not. He had been disarmed. And the way it looks to me, and maybe it's just me, I've watched all these videos. It appears to me that after Preddy is disarmed, it appears to me the gun discharges in the officer's hand. Look, it's a tense situation. You've got all this chaos, all this nonsense. He's not going quietly. He is resisting arrest. A gunshot goes off. They know they've just taken one gun off from him. One of the officers yelled gun previous to that. Bad outcome. Could have been avoided. This was all avoidable. Give the police enough space to do the job they're doing. You can yell on your bullhorns, you can blow your whistles, you can scream, you can holler, you can flip them off. Don't throw projectiles. Don't interact. Don't put your hands on the police officer. Don't directly insert yourself in the situation. It's avoidable. But it's unique to Minneapolis, isn't it? This isn't happening in Dallas. It's not even happening in Detroit, in Michigan, where I live. It's not happening in Cleveland or Columbus. It's happening in Minneapolis because there's no cooperation between local, state, and federal authorities. Let these people go take these dangerous illegals off the street. We're talking about Trende Aragua. We're talking about child traffickers. We're talking about people that sodomized children, for the love of God. Let them take these. These are not anybody that anybody wants in their neighborhoods. Let them take these dangerous people out, which, by the way, they did during the Biden administration in Minnesota. They took 6,500 people out by way of ICE and CBP. Barack Obama, more than 5 million people were taken out. They called him the deporter-in-chief. Remember that? It was never controversial. They did glowing stories on CNN. Barack Obama gave Tom Homan a medal for the great work he was doing. He was honored for the work he did deporting people. But now because it's Trump, it's different. But we have to diffuse the situation in Minneapolis. That doesn't mean retreat. That means recalculate your tactics, bring in Tom Homan. These people are still here illegally. Many of them have convictions from outside this country, again, for murder, rape, violent crimes. We don't want them here. All right? So let them do their jobs. And please, people, just let the police do their job. You can bring a sign, and yes, you can come armed to the protest. But if you get in a wrestling match with a police officer while you have a gun, my take on the law is that's no longer a legal gun because you're committing a crime with a firearm on your hip. That gets in a whole other series of problems for the person that has the gun, whether it's legal or not. So just treat them with the respect. They're just trying to do their job. They want to go home to their families, too. All right? And let's hope that nobody else gets killed in Minneapolis.
Steve, I've got many more questions about the situation there in Minneapolis, but I do also want to move on to some foreign policy issues. As Denmark is escalating its response to President Trump's attempt to acquire Greenland, the Danish Defense Ministry has now issued a statement saying that it's continuing to strengthen its military presence with Greenland and work more closely with NATO. So what do you think? President Trump has said that he's not going to use military force, that he wants to buy Greenland or he wants to use other means to acquire it. How does this ultimately end, do you think?
Well, here's how it ends. Denmark bought more military equipment from the United States in 2025. They had 7 deals, more than any other country. The next country in line had 2. We were never going to war with Greenland. We are, however, going to change the dynamic there so that we have more access to do anything we want, build more bases, maybe have sovereign control over those bases like we do at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, for example. The point is this. I defer to Mark Rutte. He is the Secretary General of NATO. He says Trump is right. He gave another full-throated endorsement of Donald Trump to a whole crowd of people that groaned when he did it yesterday. He's right. He said, Europe, if you really think you can defend yourself without the United States, you're fooling yourselves. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but Rutte is right. Europe does not survive without America. America, conversely, however, I think can survive without Europe. What military do they have that's of any consequence? Maybe the French. And after that, not the Germans, not the UK, none of them. What do you think? Denmark's going to go protect Greenland? What, they're going to send 27 soldiers over there and call it good? Come on. It's a tiny little country.
And 4 bobsleds.
And 4 bobsleds. And don't forget, the yak that they'll bring over to ride around. Come on. Be serious. I mean, just be serious.
Yak.
Well, yaks are... Don't knock them till you've tried them, T. They're kind of fun to ride.
Well, I'm going to continue to knock them because I ain't going to never try them. I'm not walking behind a horse, and I'm definitely not riding a yak. I'm just putting that out there.
Gina wants to adopt a yak.
I would adopt.
Well, of course she does. She wants to adopt every animal that's been lost into this world. I get it. She has a big heart. I love that.
Steve, we have to move on to a question about Iran now. Iran's revolutionary.
From Iran.
From yaks to Iran.
I don't. There's just no transition there. Maybe y'all can come up with one. But anyway, Iran's Revolutionary Guard commander says his forces have a finger on the trigger. Now, this comes, Steve, as the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier strike group crosses into General Command, the Middle East region that includes Iran. President Trump had previously warned a massive fleet was heading toward that country just in case he wants to take action. Steve, what are the chances President Trump moves forward with military force, in your opinion?
Well, I have no way to gauge that. I'm not inside those private meetings in the Oval Office or the Situation Room. But I would say this. America has always stood for human rights. We've defended people in Nigeria recently. We took out the nuclear capabilities of Iran in one of the most incredible military strikes of my lifetime. If you continue to kill your own citizens without regard to human rights or dignity or actual trials, there might be a price to be paid for that. I don't know what their planning is. But in order to free the people of Iran, it doesn't seem they can do it on their own. They're a disarmed population, 92 million people that are basically defenseless against the IRGC that murders them in the streets. Thousands are murdered in prison. Some are hung in public. It's a terrible situation, but I do believe the Ayatollah is hanging on by a thread. Apparently, from what I understand, he's in hiding right now, and that's a concern. And one other thing I'd like to mention, moving on to one other country we should be watching very closely, that, of course, is China right now. Nobody is quite sure who's in charge in China right now as they have purge and counter-purge in President Xi. hanging on to his power, and he'll do it any way he possibly can. So we'll see where that goes. Very important issues on the global stage that the president has to watch, and so do we.
Steve Gruber, host of the shockingly named Steve Gruber Show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Steve.
Yak on.
Yak on. All right, coming up, a viral drag performance mocking Erica Kirk has sparked a lot of activity online, ignited a fresh culture war debate. That story next when American Sunrise continues.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now. Let's spill some tea.
Welcome back. Let's Spill Some Tea is sponsored by Artillery Tea Company, the veteran-owned patriotic tea brand delivering premium whole-leaf tea in biodegradable sachets that brew twice as strong. Patriots, if you love great tea on your terms, check out the Patriots Brew Club for automatic shipments you control. You can cancel or swap flavors anytime with no commitments. You'll also get free shipping on every order, tiered discounts up to 20% off, and free milestone rewards along the way. Brew strong, stay patriotic. Head to artillerytco.com right now and click Join the Patriots Brew Club to get started. Time to spill some tea, and in the cup today, a mockery of a conservative icon. A firestorm is erupting online as a drag performer goes viral, mocking Erica Kirk, widow of the late conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. The performer, known as Erica Quirk, has posted videos on TikTok dressing up, lip-syncing, and dancing to clips of Kirk's speeches, raking in millions of views and even fundraising for the American Civil Liberties Union. Outrage has boiled over, with conservatives calling it a heartless exploitation of grief and a new low in the culture wars. Critics say this isn't just satire, it's personal attack. And once again, the left celebrates mockery of conservative figures. For more, let's bring in David Brody, Terrance Bates, and Dr. Gina. David, want to get your thoughts first on this one.
Pure evil, pure evil. Not surprising that the left and pure evil go in the same sentence. Leave this poor woman alone. Enough already, my goodness. Dr. G.
I'm sorry. I just think that's so gross. It so flies in the face of it. I mean, and you know, I know people who are friends of mine who will go to like these, you know, these shows and things featuring these, like in Vegas and things. It has always rubbed me and bristled me the wrong way. God made woman and man, and you were just not. I don't understand it. I will never understand it. I can't comment without being just blithering, so I'll just shut up. Terrance?
No.
Definitely not my cup of tea, David.
Well, but does it go beyond that? I mean, I know I'm not trying to get on you there, T. I'm just saying, but doesn't it go beyond that, right? Not our cup of tea. Like whoever you're going to do.
So here's why I say it's not my cup of tea.
I got to call it out. We got to call this stuff out. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you, but I think it's tasteless. I think it's tasteless, particularly, as you said earlier, she's basically making fun, poking at a grieving widow. So I think it's tasteless from that perspective. And because it's so tasteless, not only is it not my cup of tea, but it's not something that I'm going to give oxygen to.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. By the way, can I just say...
Problem is we have a block that we have to do, Terrance.
No, I get it, and I'm not demeaning it. I hope no one takes this personally. I'm not demeaning it, but I'm just going to choose not to give oxygen to something like that I think is so disrespectful, that I think is demeaning. Sometimes by discussing something further and by kind of expounding on it, you give it a life of its own and you almost justify it, and I'm not going to do that. That's just my choice.
That's fair. That's fair. And by the way, I'm going to go old school and go 1974 on television for a second, because back in the day, transgenders were called transvestites.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going on here. Sorry, going to say it because that's the truth. These are men. These are men to leftists dressed up as women. That's called a transvestite in 1974. You can't say that word today, even though I just said it, but that's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, somebody just capitalizing on a moment in history is just disgusting.
All right. Well, still to come on American Sunrise, our own Terrance Bates is standing by with the story he's following today. The one to watch is next on American Sunrise. Don't miss it.
In Mogadishu, Minnesota.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they live.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking, they are standing, and they are telling the truth.
You can't kill us. You can't beat us.
Scan the QR code or visit RealAmericasVoice.com. Real America's Voice presents The Sleeping Giant. Available now.
All right, you guys, I brought donuts for the control room to celebrate. And so I have a blueberry cake donut, which is my favorite donut. And but the problem is that there was only one blueberry cake donut, so I sure hope it's not anyone else's favorite donut, too.
Well,
You're the birthday girl.
So you get to eat it.
I did. I just took it, and I'm eating it now. Anyway, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. Gina. Thanks for joining us today. Time now for the one to watch. Terrance, what are you keeping your eye on today?
So I'm really watching this blueberry donut. There's an issue with the blueberry donut. And it's, oh no, I'm sorry. I'm
totally
supposed to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping an eye on the situation in Minneapolis. We, of course, know that Border Czar Tom Homan is headed there today. He's going to oversee ICE operations on the ground there. All of this following the shooting death of a second person during immigration enforcement actions in Minneapolis. Now, this move comes as the Trump administration faces intense scrutiny over its immigration crackdown, with Democratic state and local leaders clashing with the White House. Video of the latest shooting raises new questions about the use of force by federal agents. The president, by the way, is insisting that Tom Homan is the right man to lead a more targeted operation focused on criminal illegal immigrants. Tim Walz, the governor there, is calling for independent investigations and a reduction in the federal agent presence in that state. Guys, what I'm really watching on this Tim Walz, Jacob Fry meeting is kind of the environment that he creates in the city, because I really feel, Dr. Gina and David, that there's kind of this sense that Tom Homan is going there as part of this peace accord to try to bring about peace between the state and local officials there in Minneapolis and the federal government. And as you've said, David, yes, he's kind of recasting the entire operation there, but it feels kind of like, okay, well, let me go here and make peace. And I'm not so sure that's the most effective strategy, but I'm going to step back and listen to see how it all ultimately turns out, David.
Well, and that's what I want to see. What is going to come from this meeting between Homan and Fry and Walz, and like who's going to give what? What is the new calibration point at this point? A couple of things. I mean, if I'm going to that meeting, first of all, there has to be a protest zone. I'm sorry, but these protesters cannot be. You want to keep people alive, keep them away from ICE. And, do your COVID strategy, okay? 6 feet away? No, how about 60 feet away? Keep them 60 feet away. That has to be part of the deal. Number two, I believe